Here is my Bittensor exit strategy for this bull market. If you haven't seen my overall exit strategy video, I highly recommend you go check that out. First, I'll leave a link to it in description, along with my Twitter and Instagram. Go follow me there, because why not? And also don't forget to subscribe, because if after watching this you're somehow not, that'd be a first. Okay, with Bittensor and how it's its first bull market, we don't need to worry about previous market cap highs, dilution, or hold levels. Instead, all we really have is the option to speculate, but we'll obviously be doing this in an analytical way. Off the bat, let's get one thing straight. TAO is in its pre-pump phase, in other words the pump before the pump. Here's a visualization of what I mean. This is the Solana chart, and when we refer to the face-ripping soul rally of last cycle, we often mean this move here. But there was a pump before this one, hence me saying pre-pump. This area here which made us go from unknown project to on my radar, and eventually major cap. We look at Dogecoin, fairly similar thing, from flat line to I'm up 20x time in Valhalla. Chainlink had a more gradual version of this growth, but same idea. Here's Avalanche again displaying some variance with this dip, but same thing again. Polygon, same exact idea. And so with Bittensor right now, and using this Polygon chart as a proxy, I am extremely confident in declaring that we're in this area right here. Which means one thing for sure, the absolute last thing you want to be doing with TAO now is selling. Especially if you got in with these higher price points of like $300, $400, $500. If you got in earlier like sub 100, maybe shaving profits isn't the worst idea, but for now, and for me, I've not sold a single TAO token. How much longer can this pre-pump phase last? Honestly, I think $1,000 is the clear level here before a tapering off. So I'll say 1,000 for a local top, but honestly even this current top of 700 is fair game. Okay, with that out the way and how we've established the idea that this TAO party in a way is just getting started, how it's just lift off, what's the real top we're looking at for the actual bull? I want to start scratching off crypto. I think TAO flips and gets ahead of in terms of market cap. Right now it ranks in the mid-20s. Projects in the same range ahead of it like Stacks, Kaspa, and IMX I all like a lot. On a personal level, I do think it flips all of them. The real debate is only with Kaspa. But it doesn't really matter because they're all moving up together. But something like an Atom, it flips. DAI flipped. Litecoin flipped. Bitcoin Cash, Shiba Inu, Uniswap all getting flipped, as is ICP Ton Coin and Wrapped Bitcoin. Polygon I also think gets flipped, and Polkadot 100%. Link, it may or may not flip, but it doesn't matter because Link is going up with it regardless. Tron gets flipped, Dogecoin gets flipped, and with AVAX same idea as Link, it doesn't quite matter because it'll be in that same range, but Cardano will get flipped. Then we got XRP and BNB. And although in my opinion they should eventually get flipped, it may take future cycles. If I had to say, I do think XRP gets flipped, but BNB actually may not. I'm a bit 50-50 with that one. But as for Cardano, the biggest cap, I'm claiming we will flip. If it does get flipped, sitting at 20 billion, which is currently a 5x from the 4 billion of TAO, then 5 times 600 is $3,000. Now note, a lot of people often refer to the old all-time high market cap of ADA being over 90 billion. But me saying TAO flips ADA is quite different from saying TAO flips the old all-time high of ADA. I'm not denying this happens, but I'm not exactly confirming it quite yet either. But also with ADA getting flipped, we obviously don't expect it to stay at 20 billion. Not to upset ADA fans, but I think getting 90 billion again would be quite the task, let alone highs. But 50 billion should be on the table, because if not, that's just sad for Cardano. Well, 50 billion divided by the 4 of TAO is 12.5. And 12.5 times 600 is 7,500 per TAO token. And also, if we reference the blow-off tops of those coins that exploded last cycle, they get to valuations around the same area, with Sol getting 77 billion, Doge getting over 80 billion, Avalanche getting 30, Polygon getting 20, Polkadot getting over 50. This perhaps could be the biggest indicator that DOT at one time had over 50 billion. Don't forget Terra Luna also touching 40 billion. So you know what we'll say, we expect a 20 to 50 billion market cap on Bittensor in realistic terms, which translates to around a 3 to 7,500 price per TAO token. A super bear case would be 10 billion, which would mean around 1,500 per TAO. And I don't want to say super bull case because the real super bull case here is top 3 with Bitcoin and ETH. And we may not even be 3 if you know what I mean. Instead, I'll say the fairly bullish case is 100 billion, which honestly guys is not that out of question. which would translate to 15,000 United States American dollars per Bittensor TAO cryptocurrency. Okay, with market caps and potential prices out the way, what is my personal exit plan for TAO? I'm still not 100% decided, but what I think I do first is sell a large portion at around 1500, which I know may sound counterintuitive considering I just said that was our bear case. But considering how my entry is around 120, and how such a large chunk of my portfolio has went into TAO, securing profits at 1500 would be monstrous gains for me at an absolute level, which as you all know is probably the number one thing we preach around here. But then with the rest of the TAO bag I honestly may just hold it as a moon bag, and not sell it until like 100 billion or as we said 15,000. But even if that point does come I still may only decide to sell some because those types of valuations would mean this thing stays here forever, where even 100 billion may get left in the dust someday. But if you want my generic exit strategy, which I also may end up doing, maybe it'd be something like scaling out 10% every 5 billion starting at 20. So at 20 billion sell 10% of the TAO bag, at 25 the next 10%, and keep going and taking profits that way. And maybe you only do that up until 50 billion, and then keep the rest as a moon bag. Another very important point worth noting is that since Bittensor is so closely modeled after Bitcoin, it too has a halving, the first halving being around mid-2025, which is coincidentally when the bull market peaks or is on the verge of ending. Could that cause for one last fiery push upward? Maybe. But don't forget the following. Something tells me TAO does very well, gets to very high valuations, keeps going up and up and up, and then the TAO halving catches trend, which a lot of people think translates to price going up, just for it to mark the local top exactly like Cardano did with the introduction of smart contracts back in 2021. To summarize, take profits along the way. I know this strategy is a bit annoying because I too like selling at once at what I think are local tops. But for coins ready to go on mega runs for the first time, no one including me can tell you what happens. For other projects that have already had a bull run I can call tops better, but for crypto like TAO, Kaspa or Beam and others I can't. But if I had to give an answer, take your first profits 10x away from your entry unless that entry is under 150, because then go for the 1500, and then scale out a percentage every 500 bucks. So for example, if you bought at 250, take your first exit out at 2500, and scale out 10% every 500 after that, so 10% out at 3000, 10 at 3500, and so on, leaving yourself a 10 to 20% moon bag at the end. To buy or trade Bittensor or any other cryptocurrency, then sign up to an exchange link below. Make sure you're subbed, and I'll see you in the next one.